There are shows with psychics.
And there are shows with doctors.
But there's no show like The Psychic and the Doc.
Your practical paranormal power unleashed.
This show synthesizes the talents of world-class medium Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer,
and street smart spiritualist, behavioral psychologist, Dr. Pat Baccili. All subjects are on the table and no topic is taboo. Inspiration, insight,
action, and fun as Mark Anthony connects callers with loved ones in spirit.
In tandem with Dr. Pat's fresh, no-nonsense, street smart, intuitive insights. And she is hilarious.
Extraordinary problems
require extraordinary solutions, which may come from this side
or the other side. This is The Psychic
and the Doc, and it starts now. Welcome, everyone, to The Psychic and the Doc. I'm Mark Anthony, the Psychic, and I'm here with my incredibly amazing co-host, the one and only Dr. Pat Baccili.
Fired up, everybody.
And
fired up today.
This show, Dr. Pat and I are fired up because this is the fall equinox, the autumnal equinox. And that means that the balance between light and dark today is even, ergo equinox. And the theme of this show is your mega equinox and finding balance on the equinox. And you know, Dr. Pat, we have the perfect guest today to talk about finding balance. And and I am just so thrilled to have and to introduce Dr. Pat is definitely in need of finding balance today. But I want to introduce our guest. We have with us Dr. Dixie Short, who is better known as Dr. D, and she's a world-renowned naturopathic physician, and she uses natural medicine and remedies to help the body heal itself. And natural medicine is really fascinating because it embraces many therapies. It's a cross-disciplinary approach that involves herbs, massage, acupuncture, exercise, meditation, nutritional counseling. And Dr. D has dedicated her life to helping her patients establish a healthy and joyful way of living through simple lifestyle changes. So I am absolutely thrilled and honored to welcome you to the show, Dr. D. Thanks. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Okay, so you have to know every month we have like special weeks we do. Now you know a little bit about this. This is what I call demo day for podcasting. You understand? Demo day. Like anybody that does any renovation, that watches any Magnolia television shows, this is demo day. This is our September demo day. And it's perfect because of what we're going to talk about. And you joining us, especially as we field calls from our listeners, because there's sometimes that messages will come through. I'll do a mini interpretation and then you can chime in. I don't know about you, but let's talk about this, both of y'all. I want to ask you this, but what I'm finding, and I want to ask if this is true, I'm finding that the people that I work with, that I talk to, that I meet, they need our help. They need help.
Oh my.
Are you guys, right? Dr. D, what are you finding?
I'm finding like the biggest one is nutrition. I will never not have a job because if you've never watched TikTok, oh my God, I can't believe what some people are eating. It's terrifying.
God. I can't believe what my best friend Linda is eating. I'm like, thank goodness Mary Jane told her she may be allergic to peanut butter. Hallelujah.
It's pretty bad. And the worst part is we have so many other stressors, like right now in the US, we have finance and we have so much stress, and that stress takes a huge toll on all facets of your body. And we don't take enough time to like repair that.
Right, Mark?
I agree with that. You know, when you, Dr. D, it's amazing because in so many of the readings that I do and the connections with the other side, spirits come through and they talk about what the recipient of the message is eating. And how many people, when they're stressing out, suddenly start craving broccoli, Dr. D?
None.
Exactly.
I thought you were asking like a real question. I was going to say, I think Mark lost it. This is demo day for Mark.
But seriously though, people tend to go for comfort food, things that are bad for them. Why do you think that is, Dr. D?
So a lot of the reasons is that when we become stressed, our body, we have particular bacteria within our body, and sugar is also a dopamine and serotonin receptor. So its job is to make you happy. So when you're stressed, your body will naturally throw out the need for stuff that's going to relieve that stress through the happiness receptors, while simultaneously the bacteria in your body's like, I need more junk. And different types of foods will actually coincide with different types of like things going on internally. Like, for example, if you are overstressed or you're not getting enough sleep, you'll typically gravitate more towards like fatty foods, greasy foods, because your body acts kind of like a shark. If it doesn't get the caloric like reset while you sleep, it's going to start consuming extra calories to kind of get that extra energy.
Oh, okay. Now, see, I didn't
Yeah,
realize that. I just thought, well, I knew that sugar makes you feel good, although in the
Yeah.
long run, it makes you feel bad, because I try to avoid sugar. I mean, I'm not entirely, but recently somebody gave me a chocolate chip cookie, and I haven't eaten a cookie in a long time. And oh my God, it felt like I drank like 4 cups of espresso. My heart was pounding. I was like, and I didn't realize, there was probably 20 grams of sugar in that cookie, and it just sent me. Yeah, it was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And with insomnia, and you said like when people are having a hard time sleeping, and I know that you treat a lot of people for insomnia.
Yes.
What are some of the strategies that you give to your clients for treating sleep disorders and insomnia?
So everybody's different, and you kind of got to look at it from like what's going on. For example, a lot of individuals get super anxious right before bed, or if you have ADHD, your brain doesn't turn off before bed, and that's when things just all start coming out. And it's really beneficial if you do like a vagus nerve reset right before bed. So you can take like ice packs and hold it on your chest for 10 to 15 minutes prior to bed. That basically shuts off your survival instincts and more into like the rest and digest. There's so many different options that it's going to be really great for anybody like me who's like, I don't like that. I want to try this. I don't like that. And when you use something, sometimes it'll only be good for a few short time. And your body's like, no, I've adjusted to that. I need something different.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
So
That's how smart that is.
Yes.
That's how smart our bodies are, right?
It is ridiculous what your body can do. And it's super freaking smart. And it keeps track of everything.
I know. I hate
Literally.
that. Are you kidding me? Right?
But I love that too.
I know. It's like, don't we have a love-hate relationship with our body? Let me make a quick announcement. For those of you tuning in, this is a live call-in show. The only difference is you're now going to get a dose of Dr. D along with me and Mark. 1-800-930-2819. Please give us a call. 1-800-930, what's our call?
2819.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. You mentioned broccoli. I haven't been the same. But this is what I want to say. This is your purpose and your passion. So I wanted to say a little bit about this for you. Mark introduced you. You also do what I found, Mark, is a missing gap in telemedicine. Now, I love that telemedicine has absolutely accelerated. I mean, are we even saying the words telemedicine? Did we just say that?
Yeah.
Oopsie. And there are some restrictions, like my doctor, like when I leave the state, my doctor can't talk to me. I don't get that. That doesn't like make sense. Like your regular doctor can't talk to you, but that's okay. But you are filling a gap that I think is needed. You provide one-on-one coaching. You help people solution-based. Your background not only is able to help them with the body, but the body, the mind, and the spirit, right? What motivates you, though? What got you hooked?
My own personal journey. I was in school to do like a traditional MD, and I was in med school and I got super sick and I did what I was trained to do, and they just kept giving me prescriptions. I couldn't go to the doctors without getting at least 6 prescriptions, and nothing was working. And I was like, there's got to be another solution. And I had a friend who was in class and was like, oh, you should just try like acupuncture. Maybe the quacks are onto something. And when you get desperate, you're like, okay. And I did. And I remember filling out the form, like, have you fill something out in the very beginning stating like, do you think it's going to work? And I was like, no, this is not, you guys are quacks. I wrote the most horrible things. I'm so sorry. But they changed my mind, because at the end they have you refill it out. And I was like, he's like, so what did you think? And I was like, I hate you, because I'm almost done with school and my mom is going to kill me when she finds out I'm switching my major. Because if you know something's not working, why would you keep going?
Yeah, you're looking at 2 of them. Mark, hello, Mark. You're looking at Mark over there and you're looking at me. And, you know, both of us came from very lucrative career directions, both of us, you know, and we turned away from that, turned down jobs, turned down opportunities, because when it doesn't feel right, if it ain't light, it ain't right. And if the minute we can figure that little algorithm out, hello, everybody, right?
And wouldn't you rather do what you love than do something you hate and hate going to work every day?
I love doing this show. Don't you love this show, Mark?
I do too. I love doing
Mark.
this show.
I love Mark.
I love Dr. Pat. I love Transformation Network. Transformation. That's the whole point here, is helping people with their grief, with their sadness, the feeling like they're stuck in a rut. And Dr. D, you hit the nail on the head. If you're spending your life doing something that you hate, I mean, how many of our listeners, how many of you out there wake up and the first thing in your head in the morning is, ugh, or a 4-lettered expletive, and that's how you're looking at your day, as opposed to, wow, it's a new day. And when you wake up and your first thoughts are like, ugh, what I have to deal with, and, you know, it colors everything in your life. It sours everything. And don't you feel that mental attitude is a huge part of staying in a holistic balance?
100%. And where your mind goes, your body follows. So if you are constantly like, one of my favorite things is people at work will say, God, I hate this. I don't want to have to go to work. I feel like I'm going to die. I'm like, don't say that. Your brain will literally associate that and think like, oh my gosh, something will kill me at work. So then it'll start to break down. If you ever notice, like, if you don't want to go somewhere, you magically get sick and it's like a total blowout sick. That's because your body is trying to support you.
Oh, I used to, for a short period of time in my office, this attorney was sharing space, and she was one of these very privileged people. You know, she grew up in this very sugar-coated world. And I remember she would come in late and she would say, oh, I don't feel like working today. And she would announce that and all the staff would hear it. And I remember I called her in my office and said, you know, you can't do that. You know, we're in charge here. We have to say, and she just,
oh my gosh,
went off on me. How dare you tell me? You know, but when the captain of the ship tells everyone, I feel like running the ship aground, what do you think the crew's gonna do? They're gonna find a way to run the ship aground. So, you know, because I used to walk in there and a lot of days I just didn't feel like being there, but it's like, all right, hey, everybody, you've got to let her rip. But when the boss says, I don't feel like working, how can you then expect anyone working for you to find any satisfaction in their job, much less get anything done?
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe you brought that up. Right? Dr. D, this is what you have to do. Tell me if I'm on track with this, but please don't comment on the food part. I remember saying that in my corporate job to a group of people, a really high-powered team. And I remember saying it, and everybody's like, well, we don't either. And I only had one place to go. I said, great, we're going bowling and we're going to have pizza. This is in New Jersey. And that's what I did. I got in a little bit of trouble for that, but I packed them all up and we left. And that's the lesson I learned. I watched how one thing out of my mouth demotivated 20 people.
But the whole thing is, if you're in that space where you're like, you're the boss and you don't want to work, I guarantee nobody else wants to either. So you have to schedule in those kind of like breaks to decompress.
Yeah.
And having that will make it so that if you're scheduling that in for your actual team, that prevents you from having people who have the burnout days where they're like, I'm taking a mental health day, which every workplace should have a mental health day.
There's
You
no
should be able
question.
to take a day out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break because when we come back, we want to talk with you some more. We want to make sure that everybody has a chance to call in 1-800-930-2819. But Dr. D, before we go, I would love for you to tell people, one, how do people find out about you? How do they work with you? And how can you help them?
Oh, okay. So pretty much I can help you with whatever you want. Let's be real. My website is askdrd.com. And if you wanted help, you could literally go into any of my social media platforms and ask questions. You can send emails. You can go into the website and just send in a comment. I've helped many people just through that. And it's one of those things where you get to decide what you want. How do you want to live your life? And you could go crazy. I've had people who are like, I want, bigger boobs. I'm like, okay, well, I don't believe in plastic surgery, so let's do that naturally.
Yeah.
Help you that way. Well, I mean, it's up to you. The sky is the limit type deal. But it's one of those things where if you can't find a system that's going to work for you, it'll never work. And if you don't see a difference within 30 days, it's not going to work either. So you should find a different option.
Okay, now wait a minute, everybody. We're going to go to break, Mark. But Mark, you're my witness, right?
I'm your witness.
You just heard Dr. D say she's going to. No, I don't need bigger boobs. Trust me, that has never been my issue.
But if you want bigger boobs, call in to 1-800-930-2819.
Yeah, no, but here's what you heard when we come back. So you are going to help me with my ping pong game.
Oh, I will. If that's what you want, let's do it. That is
what I want. I mean, I have so many good things in my life that on demo day, that's the thing I'm picking. Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back. Everybody, welcome back. We've got a great show for you today, a very special version of the Psychic and the Doc. Of course, Mark and I are here. We are taking your calls, but we have a very special guest who is going to chime in, and that is Dr. D. Again, both Mark and Dr. D, if you will, before we go right to the phones, please let folks know how they can find out more about you. Dr. D, you go first.
So you can find me at askdrd.com. And on all social media platforms, it's Ask Dr. D DNM.
And that's DEE, like not just the D.
Yes.
You got to be the D and then the E and then the E. So like it's DEE for D.
Yes. And then D as in dog, N as in Nancy, M as in Mark for the DNM. Like
DNM. Okay. Well, speaking of Mark, if people want to find out about getting a reading with me, signing up for the newsletter, subscribing to Best Holistic Life magazine, you can visit my website, which is afterlifefrequency.com. That's afterlifefrequency.com. And tonight, the name of the show should be The Psychic and the Doc and the Doc, because we got two docs here, and this is really a very special opportunity.
Two docs and no boat.
This is a very special opportunity for our callers, because not only are you going to have the benefit of Dr. Pat's psychological insights and interpretive ability, but you've also got Dr. D's naturopathic and her intuitive sense as well. So if you're going to call in, tonight is the night, 1-800-930-2819. So Emily, we've got somebody on the line, right?
Yes, we have Marie from Seattle. Marie, you are live. Welcome to the Psychic and the Doc.
Hi, Marie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Dr. Mark, Dr. Pot, and Dr. D.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi, Marie. So glad to hear from you. It's great to hear from you. How can we help you tonight?
Well, first, I'd like a medium reading.
Yes, we'll get you over there. Let me just check your sound. Are you on a speakerphone? Do you have a headset? What do you got going on there?
No, I just have a cordless phone.
Okay,
Should I
just make
get
sure
a
you're,
different phone.
nope, just stay close to the mouthpiece and you'll be good. I'm going to
Okay.
hand you over to Mark.
Okay,
right.
hold on, Marie. I'm getting a male energy coming through. Now, what I'm getting with him is he could be on your generational level, but he could be on the one above it. Let me hold on with that for a minute. But with him, I'm getting this very dry sensation in my throat. I'm getting very raspy sounds like, so he was having difficulty articulating and speaking prior to passing. But I do get, Marie, that he was mentally alert and aware. He knew what was going on around him. So I'm not picking up on any mental gaps in his logical thinking, but I am getting a lot of pain in my lungs. And I'm not only just in the front of my chest, but all the way through to the back. And I'm also now getting pains in the kidneys. So this gentleman was having difficulty breathing, having difficulty with his throat, lungs, obviously that makes sense with the breathing, but a tremendous amount of inflammation, pain, and pressure in his lungs and his kidneys. Now, the interesting thing about the kidneys is because they sit right above the hips. This could mean he may have been having trouble with his hips as opposed to the kidneys. No, I'm going with the kidneys on this because you're giving me kidneys and I'm tasting blood. Now, the blood does not necessarily mean a bleed out. This could have been an internal hemorrhage, but it could also have been some type of infection or problem with the blood, which would also, again, relate to the kidneys. Does any of this resonate with you? Does any of this make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, don't give me his name, just his relationship to you, like brother, cousin.
Sounds like father.
Your father. Remember, I was saying he's either on your generational level or the one above it, which would be the father. Okay, so let's talk to him for a bit. Interesting. I heard that's what you get with Cracker Jacks. Interesting. Hold on. Cracker Jacks. Whenever I get the image of a vision of a Cracker Jack box, this could be a male J name like a Jack, Jim, Jeff, John. Cracker Jacks could mean maybe he liked eating those things, but this could also be somebody that may have been in the Navy or like baseball. Why? Because the Cracker Jack guy's wearing a Navy uniform and buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, which is a baseball song. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to make sense with him, but it could make sense with you or someone else close to you in any way. Anything there?
Yeah, now I'm thinking it might be an uncle. I had an uncle
Well,
in the Navy.
that could mean the uncle is with him because it's very typical for more than one spirit to come through. And I believe this is your dad because he's holding up a gemstone and it's an aquamarine, which I believe is the gemstone for the month of March. So what this indicates to me, Marie, is a significant birth, death, anniversary, or event, which could be connected to him or you or someone close to either of you within the month of March.
Okay.
Is there something with your mom in March?
No, she's November.
There's something with your mom in March.
In March?
Yeah, and it could have been this last March, or maybe there's some anniversary, birth, death, anniversary, or event connected to you or your dad or someone close to you within the month of March.
I'll think about that. I can't think of anything right now.
Something happened to you in the month of March of this year that was traumatic. That's what he's telling me. What happened?
Nothing traumatic. I had a blood test that was a little abnormal, but that took care of itself.
Hold on. Remember, he was talking about blood?
Yeah.
You had an abnormal blood test. There we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay. When I do private readings, I usually spend about 15 minutes before we even start going through an orientation to teach how to catch those things. But very good, Marie, because he's insistent. Now, even though you said that got taken care of, he said this has the propensity. Your dad was very articulate, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's using the word propensity to be a reoccurring condition. And I mean, not funny, but it's no accident that we have Dr. D here tonight based
Tell me
on
what
what
the
he's
blood-
talking about, this medical condition. And the other thing he's showing me is the number 21, and he's showing me 21 diamonds. Now, diamonds are the birthstone for the month of April. This could indicate significant birthdays, anniversaries, or events connected to you or him or someone close to you within the month of April, but it could also be a significance to the number 21. It does not have to be April 21st. And granted, today is September 21st, but this could be the 21st of any other month or a significance to the number 21, which could be 1, 2, 12, or 21. Anything there?
My sister's born in April. I don't.
That would be a yes. Okay.
Yeah.
She got the same possible problem, the blood issue that you do?
No, we have some other similars, but not that. No.
There we go, because he's talking about that. All right. So let's see what else he wants you to know. That and change the oil and get your transmission fluid checked. What's going on with your car?
I'm due for an oil change.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold position here for a second. Dr. Pat knows what I'm about to say. This is verifiable fact following the message. Pat hears that every week. What that means, Marie, is when a spirit gives us a message of an explanatory or advisory nature. So we got your dad, you identified him based on the factors with his passing. He brought up the blood test you had in March, and then he brought up your sister and a health condition that you and she have in common. That's the advice and explanation. But then when the spirit immediately follows that up with an objectively verifiable fact that you need to get an oil change on your car, the verifiable fact of the oil change is how Dad is letting us know that we have properly received and interpreted the message before that. Now I'm going to turn you over to Dr. Pat and then to Dr. D.
Yeah, we're both going to
Okay.
talk to you. Here's the question. I don't know if you know much about aquamarine. First of all, it's a beautiful stone, but its healing properties are very interesting. So I don't want you to share on air privately if you don't want. But when you said the blood was okay or the blood was resolved, there are a couple things that come to mind. A lot of us women, when our hormones go wacky, we grab for the aquamarine. You know what I'm saying right there? Grab for that. There's also some very interesting psychological things with aquamarine. I can't even talk about it. I'm stuttering. People that are overwhelmed with responsibility, people that have judgment when judgment comes at you, right? Aquamarine is the healer. And so it's a stimulant, and it's the kind of stimulant, I use it a lot. It's a kind of stimulant for intelligence. Dr. D, right? Aquamarine has those healing properties.
Aquamarine's great, especially for women, because it's for people who have overload of burden. So its job is to kind of take that workload off. So it's very natural to gravitate towards.
Yeah. Now, what burden are you carrying there, Marie?
I think that's great. I did want to tell you, I am one of those people that crave broccoli.
Oh, look at you! That's great.
But I can't eat it anymore.
Oh, why is that?
It's hard to digest.
I had
Kidney,
intestinal things going on with that.
See, that's really why we're going to get at it now, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Now we're getting at it, because this aquamarine, and Dr. D talked to this, it soothes indigestion. That's one of its healing properties, Mark. Right, Dr. D? It's one of those things, but it's also related to sinuses and so forth, which cause indigestion problems. You see, what do you say about that with the broccoli there, Dr. D?
So honestly, I want to know more about your blood tests.
Yeah,
it
me too.
sounds like your kidneys might be getting overworked, which would be another playback to the filters, because when you get your oil change, you're changing out the filters. Your kidneys are one of your filters. And
that's interesting. Yeah.
I was
my blood test was a low sodium.
Ooh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Especially in America.
Yeah. Well, guess what we cut out? We cut out iodized sodium. And so where are we even getting the iodine from? Hello?
I
Like,
know.
unless you're like me
Seaweed.
eating a bunch of seaweed. Okay, like, you know what? We're like in the 1.001% of the people that eat seaweed, right? In the United States.
Who
Hold
doesn't
on.
like sushi?
Hold on.
ahead, Mark.
Let me interject here. Marie, when you said
Uh-huh.
something about the broccoli and the digestive issues, does your
Yeah.
sister share that issue?
Yes.
There we go.
That's it.
Dr. D, take it away.
Yeah.
So I want you both to get your adrenal levels checked out. It sounds like that's because your adrenals literally sit on top of your kidneys.
Yes.
And if you're having problems with digesting those types of foods, it usually is a lovely indicator that you have leaky gut. And that would create an issue for you to break down cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and broccoli, things of
Yeah.
that nature.
Yeah.
It just becomes really hard to break it down, even though your body really freaking needs it. You can onboard digestive enzymes. There are different types of enzymes you can find naturally occurring in food. Like, for example, pineapple has a digestive enzyme in it. It's better for breaking down like meats, but there's tons of natural options. There's also things that you can do, like taking essential oils internally. Make sure the ones that you're picking are ones that can
Yeah.
be taken internally.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're going to do any essential, less is more with the scent.
Oh,
Please,
100%.
less is more. You know, when it says one drop, they don't mean 11. They really don't mean 11. They mean like one.
It's
all right,
super
Marie.
concentrated.
It's super Marie, thank you so much. I think you're
Thank
good
you
to
very
go.
much.
You bet. I got to get me some papaya too. I think
Ooh.
that's what I'm looking for that. Emily, who do we have next?
We are going to go to Sandra, who is calling back and following up after last week. Sandra, you're live. Welcome back to the Psychic and the Doc.
Sandra, what do you got for us? Come on.
I'm just like jumping for joy. And I got to tell you, Mark was like spot on last week when I was very nervous because my husband was undergoing a cardiac procedure the following day. And Mark said, "Oh, don't worry. Is he having stents put in?" Well, I didn't know it was going to be plural. And yes, he did. And he did wonderfully. And he's doing fantastic.
Woo-hoo!
And I finally got,
Yeah.
you nailed it.
Oh,
You nailed it. And
Mm-hmm.
your relatives in spirit nailed it. I'm just the conduit. But they also realized in their is it your dad that's in spirit?
yes, he is.
Okay, because it must be dad night, because I got a authoritative, loving male figure popping in, and he said, I knew my little girl was so worried, and he wanted to reassure you that he's going to be just fine. Okay. And this is fascinating because now he's making me taste Granny Smith apples, not just any apples, but Granny Smith apples. And I'm going to hold off on my interpretation of that because I want to go to Dr. D first and then to Dr.
Yeah,
Pat.
go for it.
Dr. D.
So Granny Smiths are great because they're also really bitter, and we gravitate more towards sweet foods. And because Granny Smiths has so much fiber in it, it's going to be really good for heart health anyway. I was like, there's tons of things that come from apples. They're really fantastic, and you can literally cook them anyway. And it's also really high in estrogen. So you just want to make sure that if you're having someone with estrogen dominance, you're not doing a crazy amount of apples.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, a lot of times when you mention apples, people, I don't know why my dad was like this too. You mention apple and dad's like, I'm not chewing that apple. Okay. So what I would do is steam them for him. I would steam them, not steam them until they don't look like an apple, but steam them enough that for him, it was easier to take. Of course, I had to put cinnamon and sugar on it, but a little sugar goes a long way. So there are things that you can, it's like a comfort food, right, Dr. D?
It is
It's a comfort
100%.
food.
You can even make it into apple butter. So like, let's say you left it in the crock pot and you just forgot about it. That's welcome to apple butter world.
Oh,
You know,
so
my
good.
mom made apple butter, and my mom had a sister named Dixie Fern.
Oh, we're
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
And I think I know why
Synchronicity.
the men are calling in, because the men are calling in because they think demo day is only for them. That's why we got the men in spirit. Now, is there anything else that you want some help with?
Well, I wanted to also thank you both of you, because we talked about suicide last week
Yes. Yeah.
with my youngest son, and
Yep.
I have to tell you, I have finally found peace with his passing. It's taken me so many years, but it just that evening, what Mark said, not to hold the guilt, and Chase had a lot of problems emotionally. He was the greatest kid, young man, but he was spinning out of control. That was his life. And I understood he gave me what he could. He gave us what he could. The 24 years was a blessing. So I have resolve. I have peace. And for anyone that's struggling with surviving after such a loss, I'll tell you what, you can do it. There is light that comes through healing, and mediumship has definitely been a blessing in my world. And I want to thank your show, Dr. Pat and Mark, because it's just been such a powerful turning point for me to learn acceptance. So thank you both. And tonight, my other son, my oldest son, is here, and he made a pot of, get this, goldenrod tea, because he says it's filled with antioxidants.
Right on, right, Dr. D, right?
Plus, it's great for the seasonal allergies. So getting pops all around.
Dandelion is like the secret. Isn't that the secret of secrets in the medicinal world?
Dandelion is phenomenal.
Yeah, but it's like a big secret. It's like if people knew about just this one thing, like if the general public knew about just this one thing, can you imagine the demo work that would be done on their bodies?
It grows in our yard.
Literally everywhere. There's
literally everywhere. And dandelion is so. There's one other thing before you go. Apples have another significance in my interpretation. They are symbolic. Yes, a teacher is one of them, and it could be you or somebody connected to you in the teaching profession, but it's also symbolic of the month of September, which of course we are in right now. So in addition to your husband having the surgical procedure, is there any other significant births, deaths, anniversaries, or events connected to you or someone close to you within September? Go ahead.
Can I say, yes. All right, 9/11 was my husband's birthday. And guess what? Today is our anniversary. And it's the 21st.
Oh!
You know the song, Do You Remember the 21st of September? Do you remember?
Yes.
Everyone knows that one.
Come on, sing it, girl. I know. Go ahead.
That's so fun.
Now, hold on. Was it with you or was it with the prior caller that the number 21 came through?
Today's the 21st.
Prior caller.
No.
Prior caller.
No, the prior caller. Okay.
April.
Yeah. So what we have to realize, hold that thought. When spirits come in, it's not just one spirit at a time saying, hello, I'm spirit number one. They come in a group and they knew that you were going to be on the line and they knew that the previous caller was going to be on the line. And we get frequency overlap, and the number 21 came through for her. And I believe it had some significance, but that the number 21 has complete significance for you. So this is what I refer to as collective consciousness communication. It's a relatively complex concept. I'm not going to take up a lot of time with it, but the things that come through, none of it are random. It just doesn't mean we always understand it right away. Okay, now you're about to tell us something. Go for it.
But you also were talking about aquamarine, and that was my Chase's birthstone, and you had mentioned it with the prior caller. And when she was talking about kidney, over the kidneys, the adrenals, before she even said that, I was thinking check for Addison's because of the low sodium and the digestion problem to the prior caller.
Yeah.
That's what was hitting me. Sometimes, medical things do come my way too. But what a wonderful night!
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on Demo Night with Dr. D. Thank you so much for calling in. Oh, you bet. Let's take a short break, Emily. When we come back, we're going to keep hitting it. We'll be right back. everybody. Welcome back to the Psychic and the Doc. I'm Dr. Pat. I am here, Psychic and the Doc today. And Mark Anthony, myself, and Dr. D. For those of you that want to find out more about Dr. D, go to Dr. D, and it's DEE, please. And it's Ask Dr. D. Mark, where are we sending people for your agenda? Got a big one, too.
I do. Please visit my website, afterlifefrequency.com, which is same as my latest book, The Afterlife Frequency. And when you visit my website, you can sign up for a reading. Please sign up for my newsletter. You can find out the next episode of The Psychic and the Doc. And you can also subscribe to Best Holistic Life magazine. And Dr. D and I are both VIP executive contributors for Best Holistic Life magazine. And it's exactly that. There are stories, there are recipes, there are inspirational articles. Best Holistic Life magazine is the 21st century magazine for people who are self-aware when it comes to their body, mind, and spirit health.
Yeah. Wow. Look, Emily, Jonathan, thank you both. Emily is one of our fabulous producers. Jonathan, you get to say hi to him a lot of times when you call in. And we are going to go right to the phones, Emily, if we could. Who do we have?
Yep, we have Louise from Canada. Louise, you're live. Welcome to the Psychic and the Doc.
Hi, Louise.
Hi.
How are you today?
Hi.
Are you
Good.
doing okay? Good. Hey, how can we help you today?
I'd like a reading from Mark to start with.
Let's get you over there, okay?
Okay, Louise.
What do you think?
Yeah, okay, Louise, I got a female energy coming through, and she could be on your generational level or the one below it. Now, that could indicate child, niece, nephew, but this could also be somebody that you knew when you were a child. And what I'm getting with her is I'm feeling this massive impact sensation to my head. When I get a massive impact sensation like that, what this indicates, Louise, is that this could have been head trauma, stroke, aneurysm, or could have been a quick passing. And based on the sensations that I'm getting, I feel that not only was this quick, but it very well could have been traumatically induced. And I'm getting a lot of pain in my mid and low back, almost like a snapping sensation. This feels to me that this young lady may have died in some type of accident. This was very, very quick. I am seeing windshields, I'm seeing lights. So this feels like some type of automotive accident. Is there somebody on your generational level or lower, or when you were younger, connected to you, female, that died in a motor vehicle accident?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's work with her a bit, and hold on. Wow, she's very concerned about what's going on with you right now. And she's telling me that you have been internalizing a lot of pain, a lot of emotional stress, and you're holding it in your abdominal region, which I think is not very, that's not unusual, but she's talking about these burning sensations in my stomach. And when I say my stomach, that's she's projecting this to me. She's very, very worried. Also, she said that you are tending to keep your feelings to yourself and you're not voicing your concerns. Also, she's concerned that you're not sticking up for yourself. I don't know if this is in a personal relationship or in a business setting, she said, but has come time for you to take a stand. Does any of this resonate with you, Louise?
Yes.
Okay. In what way?
My job.
Your job. All right. Now I'm going to turn you over to Dr. Pat because she's better at that type of counseling than I am. But I don't. This female is not telling you to go into work and start like telling everyone to F off or something like that. But this is an asserting yourself. And when I meant flake off, I didn't mean anything else. Okay. Dr. Pat, what's your take on that?
I just want to say one thing, Louise. Boy, this is really heavy with you, right?
Yeah.
No, it's really heavy. There's something really heavy about it. You don't need to share it on air, but there's something heavy. Look, I'm going to make a statement. I don't know if it's going to be true or not. Okay. You don't have to answer it. But the only thing that keeps hitting me is abusive, the word abusive. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if that's even the situation. I don't know if it's work, but you understand that there are ways that we believe when we go to work for a company, we believe they're obligated to treat us with respect. And that's not the case these days. I don't know. Is any of that ring a bell with you? Is any of that hitting any nerves?
Yes.
I know this is hard for you to talk about. Look, we're going to give you some solutions and remedy, and you could share as much as you want. But this kind, I had a boss that was a bully. And I can't even explain what that felt like because I didn't see it, but I isolated myself. I didn't have the smarts to go to therapy, and I didn't have the courage to leave because I needed the money. I've had 2 of them like that, and the universe actually had to help me leave. And if the universe didn't help me leave, I wouldn't be talking to you today, because that ship would have sailed with me getting a pension and retirement. I wouldn't have gone back to school. But what kind of relief would you like? Let me ask you a question. If you had a magic wand and you could take that wand, what would you like to change?
I love my job because it's also with kids, but I'd like to change my boss.
Dr. D, go for it.
So
Yeah,
like,
boy, do I know that feeling. I spent 10 years researching that. So I know that one. Go ahead, Dr. D.
I was like, you can't necessarily control somebody else's actions. You can control your actions. Setting boundaries is going to be a life changer for you. And learning how to like establish those boundaries, you will definitely have to enforce those boundaries with this individual, because when we've allowed someone to take advantage of us over a prolonged period of time, that's all they know. And you're basically rewriting the script for them. So they need to have additional assistance. As far as your health goes, you definitely need to focus on doing some more stress reduction techniques. If you find that you're getting really stressed at work, you want to make sure that, it sounds like you could be dealing with ulcers if your family member is coming in saying that there's a lot of heat coming from your stomach. You don't want to have that become an issue. So know that stomach acid exists for a reason. It's going to make it so that your immune system is stronger. You don't want to like take a bunch of Tums. You just want to do things that are going to be anti-inflammatory. So focus on foods that are anti-inflammatory, and you can do a lot of different stress techniques. Deep breathing is going to be one of the like things that you can do literally anywhere. And I would definitely do like music or something. If you have any access to having music with kids, that's going to be great. You can incorporate in stress reduction techniques for the work you do with kids too, so that you're kind of taking care of them, but also taking care of you. Sometimes we have to like manipulate it so that we feel like we're taking care of someone else as opposed to ourselves. At least I do that for me.
I want to say, well, I know I have a minute or so left for you. We don't realize how much time we spend at work. And you heard the 3 of us kind of jokingly talking about how wonderful it is we love our jobs. But I will tell you, for most of my life, that wasn't the case for me. You know, I had bosses that I was sure they were the devil's children. I swear. I mean, or something out of The Walking Dead, or maybe even the latest version with Daryl Dixon of The Walking Dead. They clearly were people that didn't have a heart. And what threw me over the edge, Louise, I was a head of HR, and my boss wanted me to fire Janine with 29 years and 11 months of service. And I want to say to you, go within, find your spiritual connection for guidance, because the greatest weapon that any of us have against bosses, spouses, people, narcissists that we cannot change is our spiritual strength. Does that make sense, Louise?
Yes.
Moonstones are really good like
Moonstone.
gemstone to
Ooh.
gravitate towards to
Yeah.
keep people like that away
Ooh.
too.
Yeah. Now? I have a stone, Louise, and I get it in my hand, especially when I do a show with Mark. I got to get. No, I'm only kidding. But I have a stone that I keep in my hand, and I rub it. Please go out, and this is your assignment. So this show is about action. You need to find 5, not 1, not 2, not 3, 5 different tools. Dr. D gave you 1. I gave you 1. Dr. D gave you 2. I gave you 1. The other thing, please find is time for yourself where you're not able to focus on the work. Okay. Can you do that? Can you do that? And I'm telling you, that dandelion tea from the last caller, bingo.
And
What-
you know what? If you love your job, but you don't like your boss, you may want to consider finding another job doing what you do in a different location,
Yep.
because nothing is worse than having a sourpuss for a boss. And when I was a young lawyer, I had to put up with the most horrific, miserable, blood-sucking vampire lawyer bosses imaginable, and leaving them in the midst of the past was the greatest thing, the best gift I ever gave to myself.
Yeah. Louise, are you able to take all this in now?
Yes.
Don't worry. You can always listen back to the show. Listen to the other callers that called in. Listen back to the show, because the remedies for them are going to help you. Okay. I'm not saying this is easy.
Yes.
What I'm saying, though, is it's easy enough for you to do. You can do it.
And just remember, you're not alone. If you need
Oh,
help,
no.
there are people.
Yeah. Call Dr. D.
Yeah.
Dr. D, give
totally
Louise your website. Go ahead.
It's
Go ahead.
Ask Dr. D. So AskDee.com.
Right. AskDrD.com.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Please don't fool around. Call her, Louise. You got it? All right. Thank you. Wow, what a great show, you guys. Dr.
Thank
D,
you.
thank you. Thank you, Louise.
Thank
Hey, Louise.
That is a longer call. I'm actually going to be doing a show about bad bosses.
Oh,
I
you'll
am.
have
I'm
plenty
planning it a month out. I'm
plenty of
planning it.
material.
I just keep getting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. How do I know? I've been a bad boss, so I actually know what they look like. But I work for people that wouldn't let me get away with it. Thank you both for tonight. Mark, what's your final message? Dr. D, what do you want to leave us with here? We got to go.
My message is Dr. Pat and I will be back next week, so please call in. Dr. D, I will let you have the last word.
My message is to focus on taking care of yourself, because you really only get one life and you might as well enjoy it while you get it. So, if you need help, I'm
Yeah.
more than happy to do so.
Don't worry, I'm going to call you for the ping pong. Thank you all for
Oh, for
tuning
sure.
us in and turning us on. We'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning into The Psychic and the Doc with Mark Anthony and me, Dr. Pat Baccili, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Hey, look, come back next week so we can explore with you more of life's many challenges and learn from fascinating guests. And you know what? Even Mark and me. We'll connect you and discover insights from people in this life and from the afterlife. Extraordinary problems? Yeah, they do. They require extraordinary solutions. But step into the world of possibilities with us on The Psychic and the Doc. That's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. That's TransformationTalkRadio.com. And don't forget, we're also live face-to-face on Facebook.com, Transformation Talk Radio.